Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are diving deep into a concept that has totally changed the game for software development, platform as a service, or what you'll hear called PaaS. And you know this quote right here? It's the perfect way to kick things off. PaaS is the paved road. I mean, that just nails it, doesn't it? It's all about letting you, the developer, focus on your destination, your awesome app, instead of having to build the road yourself. Okay, so before we jump into what PaaS is, let's talk about the world without it. Imagine trying to build a modern app completely from scratch. It's a nightmare. You're not just a coder. You're suddenly the server admin, the network engineer, the security expert. We're talking servers, operating systems, patches. It is a huge pile of work you have to do before you can even think about writing a single line of your app's code. So how do you skip all that grunt work? Well, this is exactly where platform as a service swoops in. This is the paved road we were just talking about. It's this ready-to-go environment where all that heavy lifting is already done for you. So let's peel back the layers and see what that really means. All right, here's the official definition. This one's from NIST. But let's just cut to the chase. The big idea here is that the provider gives you a platform and you can just build and run your app on it. You don't have to touch or even think about the underlying infrastructure. Seriously. No worrying about servers, networks, OS updates, none of it. You just focus on your code, and they handle everything else. So what are you actually getting with a PaaS? What's under the hood? Well, it's kind of built in layers. At the very bottom, you've got the runtime. That's the OS, the servers, all the stuff you're glad you don't have to manage anymore. Then on top of that, there's middleware. Think of these as pre-built services for things like APIs or caching. Then you've got your data services, databases, storage, all managed for you. And wrapping it all up, the DevOps tooling. We're talking automated build and deployment pipelines baked right in. It's the whole shebang, really, all designed to make your life as a developer way, way easier. And this really breaks it down perfectly. It's called a shared responsibility model. Look at the provider side of the list. Networks, servers, operating systems, basically all the complex, messy stuff. And on your side, your app and your data. That's it. You get to focus on the things that actually make your application special. It's a super clear, really powerful division of labor. Okay, so we get what it is. But the big question is, why would you choose this road? Why is it so popular? I mean, what are the actual tangible benefits of handing over all that control to a platform? Let's get into it. The benefits are, well, they're massive. And honestly, they pretty much all boil down to two words: speed and focus. Think about it. All those tedious, time-sucking tasks, like spinning up new servers when you get a traffic spike, or staying up late to apply security patches, they're just gone. They're automated. And that frees up your developers to do the one thing they're meant to do: build great software. The bottom line? You get your product out the door and into your customers' hands way faster. And it's not just about moving faster. It's also about the bottom line, the money. I mean, check this out. This is from a case study by Heroku, a really popular PaaS provider. They found a potential return on investment of 286%. Let that sink in. 286%. That's a massive number. And it just goes to show how much actual, real financial value there is in letting your team focus on the product, not the plumbing. And just to be clear, this isn't some fringe niche idea. We're talking about the biggest names in the game. Azure, Google Cloud, AWS, they all have powerhouse PaaS offerings. And they've made it so simple. For a lot of them, you can literally just push your code up and the platform figures out the rest. It's almost like having a whole team of invisible ops engineers working for you 24/7. But okay, let's be real. It's not all sunshine and roses. Like any paved road, this one has some speed limits and rules of its own. It's not the perfect fit for every single project out there. So to make a smart choice, you really have to understand the trade-offs. What are you giving up for all that speed and convenience? So this brings us to the core trade-off, right? PaaS versus what's called IaaS, or infrastructure as a service. With IaaS, think of it like getting a plot of land and a pile of bricks. You've total control, maximum flexibility. You can build whatever you want, however you want. But you have to build everything yourself. With PaaS, the house is already built. You can't change the foundation, but you can move in right away and start decorating. You trade that deep, granular control for maximum productivity. Right, so PaaS is no silver bullet. There are definitely some gotchas you need to be aware of. The big one is vendor lock-in. It can be really hard to move your app from one PaaS to another because they all have their own special ways of doing things. You're also kind of stuck with whatever languages and tools the provider decides to support. And this is a huge one, security. The provider secures their platform, but you, and only you, are responsible for securing your own application code and your users' data. That part is still all on you. Okay, so we've seen the good, we've seen the bad. We've laid out the pros and the cons. That brings us to the million-dollar question. How do you actually decide if this paved road is the right path for your project? And it really boils down to this one simple but really profound question. Ask yourself this. Does your company's value come from building an amazing app, or does it come from expertly managing infrastructure? If your secret sauce is your app, then every minute you spend managing a server is a minute you're not spending on your product. But hey, if your whole business is providing some unique infrastructure, then yeah, you're going to need that low-level control you get from something like IaaS. So where does PaaS really shine? What are the sweet spots? Well, you can see here, it's pretty much a perfect fit for most modern web apps and APIs. It's also fantastic for microservices, where you have lots of little services to manage. And honestly, it's a lifesaver for small teams that just don't have a dedicated operations person. Basically, if your goal is to move fast and focus on building your product, PaaS is almost always a smart bet. Now, what about that vendor lock-in problem we talked about? If that's a big worry for you, you're not out of options. There are other platforms out there, like OpenShift or Cloud Foundry. These give you a very similar PaaS-like experience, but they're built on open standards like Kubernetes. The cool thing about that is you can run them on any cloud provider or even in your own data center. So you get the productivity boost without being tied to a single company. So let's end with a kind of a big, forward-looking question. As these platforms get smarter and automate more and more of the complicated infrastructure work, what happens to the job of managing it all? Is managing infrastructure going to become a really rare, specialized skill? The whole nature of what it means to work in tech is shifting under our feet. It's a huge change, and frankly, we're all living through it right now. What do you think the future looks like?